We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my live show. Today, I'm joined by Rylan with the Pisano.
The persona.
Um, Pisano. Yeah, I know my pronunciation of that is awful.
It's all good.
Um, but yes. Thank you for being on. I am excited to talk to you about some of the UTSA stuff. Um, yeah, thanks for being on. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to get going. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think there's so much going on right now in G5 football and around UTSA. But I want to kick it off with something that was something that I got a lot of flack on X. And we'll get to more things also into the show, but just until people get the comments in, I want to talk a little bit about my take on G5 football and where it should be. And I have the mindset of like, I just don't think G5 is ever going to catch up with the P4. And some people can say the P2. It just depends on how you look at it, right? For me, I want there to be meaningful football for this type of time, right? In December. We're listen, I'm happy that UTSA is in a bowl game, but that's mostly because UTSA is a young program who doesn't have a large history, right? But in reality, this game doesn't mean much to anybody. It doesn't mean anything to folks nationally. And to me, I'd rather there be a G5 playoff going on than what we are subjected to right now. Give me your take on that in general, and where am I wrong?
It's hard to say that you're wrong at this point. I've always in that conversation, I've always been like no, because in my heart of hearts, like I want to be able to say, like, even if it's unrealistic and it might not ever happen, but in my heart, I want to be able to say that potentially, theoretically, UTSA could win a national championship. But with the way it's going with the NIL, there's no way. There's absolutely no way, because you have to have an elite talent to compete with Power Four teams, and you have to get it all in one season. Because if you have a good season but you don't win it all, those guys are gone. Whether it's to the NFL or it's to other teams, they're not sticking around. So the idea of a G5 playoff nowadays, it's better than what we're playing for right now. Like, let's be honest, who's tapped into a UTSA versus FIU bowl? Like, even diehard fans are being like, no, I'm not going to make the trip to Dallas. It's just nobody's invested anymore, and it's hard to blame them. So I'm with you. I think a G5 playoff would be awesome. To say that UTSA has a chance to compete to be the best G5 team is something. It's better than what we've got right now.
Yeah, I think the thing is people aren't understanding that there will be marketing behind it and there will be money behind a push of supplementing the football between what's happening right now in the college football playoff that's going to happen at a particular point in time. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize. And listen, here's the thing. It's like, it's okay if, like, not everybody is going to watch a G5 playoff, but there are going to be a lot of people who do care. The people who are supporting G5 teams will watch. And that's okay, right? It's not going to be a situation where you have the whole country doing it, because the whole country is watching for the big playoff, right? But people are like so locked into what the entire country is doing, and it's like, yo, there's a whole atmosphere of G5 people who support G5 football. They will all watch.
Yeah.
They will all pay attention. And no, it's not going to be big as the college football playoff. Completely understand that. But at least your team is playing for something significant that a subset of people would be interested in. And that's sort of where my point is. It's like right now, the alternative is you have G5 teams like JMU and Tulane playing against Oregon and playing against Ole Miss and getting embarrassed, and people are telling the national people that everybody seems to want their eyes, are basically saying, hey, get these teams out of here. Well, why not have a situation where, yeah, you might have less eyes, but you might have less eyes like from the big schools, but everybody in the smaller schools in the G5 is going to be paying attention. I think it'll be beneficial to have that attention versus people shrugging you off. That's sort of my entire point with the whole thing. Is like, I'd rather the teams be playing for something, because in my opinion, that makes players want to play a little bit more, right? That makes players want to be more involved going forward. But anyway, I just want to start with that because that was a big thing that people are coming at me with. But give me your sense of G5 football, just in general, right? Like, I know outside of this thing that we're having with like the P4 and things like that, I think one of the big topics right now that is really huge that I'm going to talk to a little bit more about on this show today is the fact that the transfer portal, and you have all these G5 teams losing their
Yeah.
top players, right? You got Byron Brown leaving USF, you got the quarterback at ECU leaving, you got Messmaker leaving UNT, UTSA is losing guys left and right, and I can tell you there's going to be more guys after this after this bowl game. What is your take on the state of G5 football right now?
It's the worst it's ever been, and it sucks to say that because, you know, 6 years ago there was genuine like entertainment and joy you can find in being a G5 fan because you have the NFL where you're going to see the same players become legends for those cities, but the G5 reaches smaller markets like San Antonio that doesn't have an NFL team. So you used to have that kind of niche enjoyment of college football, and now you don't because your best players, maybe you get them for 1 or 2 years before they get taken away. And the thing is like you can't even really be mad because if you were a player and you get offered $1 million to go play for somewhere else, you know what I mean? And knowing you're like, hey, I'm good, but I'm not maybe not going to make it to be a star in the NFL. This is a real change. You can't be mad at them. So you're kind of stuck in this place of, well, I don't blame them, but man, like my team is getting gutted every single year. So it's a hard watch. If I'm being honest with you, I think you said it best. I think it was you that said it. Like we won't see players like Rashad Wisdom, Frank Harris, Joshua Cephas, DeCorian Clark. Like those are program legends, guys, people that are going to look back on for UTSA players. We might not ever see that ever again. And it's honestly sad because it creates like this, for me at least, like I get this sense of anger. It's like, why do teams like Texas and Alabama get to continue to have the same college football experience that they've had for years? But now we, or G5 teams, that experience is being taken away from us, unfortunately.
Well, I think to answer that question directly, I think you just look at like revenue. It's simple, right? Like the Big Ten and the SEC, they're getting annually $70 to $75 million from the TV, the media deal, right? That's just that. Let alone what their schools are actually bringing in from, like, they're going to max out rev share every year, and they're going to get $75 million from a media deal. And guess what? That the American Conference is getting around 7 mil. So we're talking a 10x multiple there, right? So it's never like the reality. And for those of you guys who follow me on X, the purpose of my post today on my Substack was to sort of give you guys detail on like what's actually happening. I'm talking to some of the players. I'm talking to some of the agents that's in the space, that's understanding or that's making these decisions on what they're going to do next. And I don't even blame them. People are frustrated at players for jumping in the portal. And like one thing right now, UTSA fans love to do is like talking about the players who jumped in the portal and failed, which trust me, I understand that, right? That matters. But I can't blame them because of the money they're getting thrown their way. There's a player right now that I was actually talking to right before I got on this show. People are not going to think that he's going to make a lot of money going into the portal. He's going to make a ton of money because he has Big Ten and SEC schools going for him. And he was a player who played all right for UTSA, but not great. And that's just the reality of our situation right now. But anyway, from a transfer portal standpoint, what are you looking for UTSA upcoming this transfer portal? Are you expecting a bigger exodus, or are you expecting UTSA to make a splash? Like, what are your reads on the transfer portal?
I think it all kind of depends as far as like an acquisition standpoint. I think it all kind
Right.
of depends on what they do at the offensive coordinator position. That's what I'm thinking of. That's kind of the first domino I'm waiting to fall before we start making splash acquisitions. I do expect certain guys that we've already talked about to hit the transfer portal. Just and the guys like I don't know if I'm allowed to say the exact names, but the guys that we're looking at potentially leaving, it's like I can't even blame them. They've stuck it out for longer than probably most would think. But so I guess they deserve to explore what they can get. And there has for me, and what I've looked at earlier this break was kind of what the success rate has been for people who have left UTSA,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been high. But like you said, it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't matter because if you're getting 800,000, $1 million to go play for somewhere else, and you're just okay, and then your college career ends with you having that money, that's a win. That is 100% a win.
Right. I think one of the big things too is like people don't put some of this stuff in perspective. UTSA is not able to pay a fraction of what these kids are making. So you got some kid. I think Cam Alexander a couple years ago left for like 140, and there are people who are like really really upset about that. And I know he got someone at UTSA. I know this for a fact. Wrote him an $80,000 check, and he, so it was around 80,000. Might have been a little bit more, and they thought that they kept him with that.
Mhm.
And Oregon offered him a little bit more. It wasn't like I think it's estimated up to 140, but I think it was more closer to like 100 to 115. And UTSA was really upset about him taking that, right? And the people who were involved about that because he had told them that he wouldn't leave, but he went on a visit and his mind got changed. And I think the reality to this whole thing is, guys, it's big bank take little bank.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be like that. And we can't do anything about that. So my biggest push for people now is to change your mindset on how you analyze a roster, right? It's like, hey, understand that you got a 2025 roster. Don't don't get your feelings wrapped up into that 2026 roster because it's going to be completely different. And I think people right now, because of the way college football has been traditionally, have a tough time realizing that and adjusting to that. And that's honestly the truth of what it is right now. I will say, like, there are some guys that I'm hearing about, and I know you said you weren't going to say any names. I will. I think Devin McEwen is someone who talked today in the media about his situation. He said he hadn't made a decision on 2026. I can tell you right now, based on what I'm hearing, there are people who are expecting him to enter the transfer portal. There's a couple of schools for a fact that I know that are monitoring his situation and who are um, ex- expecting movement. They have not told me that they have any agreements, but they have told me that they are monitoring his situation and him and his people are aware of that. So I don't expect to have him. I know he had a big offer, a really big offer, in what was it before the summer last year that he ended up declining to stay at UTSA. But I expect our offense to get hit. I think the one guy that I am hoping that we don't lose is Will Henderson. And I'm hoping that the Gilmer sort of connective tissue between him and Coach Traylor, and even some of the guys like Brandon Tennyson and some of the other guys that's from Gilmer on the team and in the staff stay there, because if we lose somebody like Will Henderson, that's a big loss.
Yeah, it is a big loss, and don't get me wrong, it would really like suck if we lost them. But running back is one of those positions that I feel like, like when we like I'm not gonna they're not on the same level, but when we lost Tate Sandell, it's like, oh, you lose Tate Sandell, but it's a kicker. And running backs are it's an important position, but it's not like you're losing a quarterback. And I think UTSA has some real athletes in their running back room to where if we lost Will Henderson, it would really suck because I do think Will Henderson is an outstanding athlete. Obviously, he's a two-sport athlete. He's got real speed, but I also think that it's one that wouldn't set us back too bad. On Devin McEwen, that was who I was referencing as far as to someone who he definitely could have left earlier. So if he were to take his talents elsewhere after this season, back-to-back 6-6 seasons. Like, I don't know what you want from the guy, especially if they're offering a bunch of money to him. But one thing I do want to talk about is how you mentioned like fans shouldn't get wrapped up in the emotions in 1 year roster, next year roster. I think fans should really be appreciative that they have a quarterback that's going to be on his third year at UTSA. He's not a bad quarterback. You know, Owen McCown, he I think he's good. And barring something insane, I don't know anything behind the scenes, but barring something insane, that Owen McCown should finish his collegiate career at UTSA. And I think that's very rare because he's not a bad quarterback. And I think having a quarterback stay for that long in this era is something that fans should be really appreciative of.
I'm actually glad you brought this up. So before I go into this, because I'm gonna go at you in the Owen McCown thing. But before that, I want to. You mentioned something about McEwen. I just want to know, like, did we hear the same things around the summertime about him leaving? I heard from someone on UTSA staff that he turned down a $400K offer the night the transfer portal ended, or the night the transfer portal was supposed to close. He had a yes or no at that particular time. Just curious to know if you heard the same thing.
I did not hear that. I knew that he had turned down an offer, but I didn't know any specifics as far as how much it was. But
okay,
that 400, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I heard he turned down 400 at the very, very end. It could be inflated, but I heard there was an offer that came in. Put it like this. I know the coaching staff was really, really worried he was going to take it over tonight, and they were recruiting very, very late in the night to make sure he didn't take it, and he didn't take it. But anyway, on the Owen McCown thing, I get your point, but I think this is, and tell me where I'm wrong here. I feel like McCown, we've seen the best of him. And that's okay, right? That means we're going to win some games, we're going to lose some games. But I have not seen anything from McCown because he did not take a step forward this year. It was flat. He was as good as he was this year as he was at the second half of last year, because the first half of last year wasn't great. But as he ended the season last year, I'd say the last 5 to 6 games, he was very, very good. I think this year he was very up and down, but like I think in general he was that same player. He didn't take a meaningful step forward. I don't expect him to take a meaningful step forward next year. Here's my concern. I understand they're not paying him anything. He's not really getting paid. He's a discount player for UTSA, so I understand why UTSA has to have him right now. My question is, what's going to happen when he leaves? Because I'll be frank, I think he's a good, serviceable quarterback, but he's not going to win us. He's not going to be the quarterback that leads us to a conference title. He's just not. That's just there's some limitations to his game that I think that are significant enough to where he can do some good things for us, but he's not going to lead us to a 10, 11, 12 win season. But I'm worried about, okay, what happens when he leaves? UTSA they do not have the money to be able to bring in somebody top shelf. What is your take on that?
Well, I think once he leaves, I think the strategy is just gonna be what they've done with every other position. It's, try and pull someone from the JUCO ranks that can turn into a 1-year star, and that's just how they're gonna have to do it going forward. They haven't recruited the guys out of high school. Like none of the guys rostered right now move me very much, and they don't have the money to go plug someone out of the transfer portal that's going to be a game changer like that. So what they're going to have to continue to do is what they've done with all the great players that they've got, is just analyze the JUCO ranks. Hopefully you can pull someone that is a great athlete, and then coach him into a great passer and someone that can win you the games. I disagree on your Owen take. I don't think we've seen the best from it, but
really?
That's pending the offensive coordinator hire. I'm very low. I was very low on Justin Burke. I mean, that offense was hard to watch last year, and I don't believe that the player that we saw, the Owen McCown we saw last year, I don't think that's the same Owen McCown we saw in the last 5 games of 2024. I think he has better play in him, and I think pending the right offensive coordinator and taking that senior step, I think he can be a guy that wins you an American Conference championship. He's mobile. He can throw on the run. He's got a good enough arm. You surround him with playmakers in a system that actually fits him correctly, and I think and pairing that with a gutted American Conference, I think he can lead you to a championship.
That's fair. I mean, there's a lot of folks that share that sentiment as well. I hope you're right. Like he's going to be our quarterback next year, so I hope
Yeah,
you're right. I would love to be proved wrong about this. I do not want to be right about this. I'm just giving my honest take. I think so here's what I will say. I think UTSA in general misprofiled a lot of players. Devin McEwen is one of them. I think they misprofiled, right? I think they used him on the outside a lot more than what he should be. He's a slot receiver, bro. That's just how
yeah,
it is. He needs threats on the outside so he can get the matchups he needs on the slot to really, really get cooking. And I don't think UTSA was able. I mean, I don't think UTSA felt confident enough to like put that around him. So I think they misused him personally. But yes, I do think the offense that I've never been a big fan of Justin Burke, so I'm not devastated by losing him at all. But I do think UTSA can cater their offense a little bit more to what McCown is, where his strengths are. Because, for example, you run all this RPO stuff. Part of that being effective is the quarterback having reliable legs. And McCown can stretch a play and he can run on occasion, but he's not a every down threat with his legs. And he's small, right? Like
yeah.
you got to worry about his durability as well when it comes to him taking hits, even though he's shown to be a really, really tough guy and a really durable guy. You don't want to have him at risk like that, right? So yeah, I do think a different offensive coordinator could come in and like get more out of him. I am just skeptical that even them getting more out of him would result into UTSA being a champion, which I would love to be wrong. Before we wrap here, I want to get your grade on the 2025 season. I think one of the big things for UTSA was um they had expectations coming into the season, right? Like Coach Traylor was talking about championship fiber, and like we were excited. They returned most of their offense. The defense we knew was going to be was going to be trouble, but offensively we all felt good about what we had coming in. Owen McCount leading that, right? But it didn't work out that way. And I'm curious to know what your grade is because my grade wasn't very high based on what the expectations were coming into the season.
Yeah, expectations play a big part in it, right? That you have the stretch at the end of 2024. You're expecting them to come out firing. We knew they would lose against Texas A&M, but even in that Texas A&M loss, you're seeing some things that you really like, and you're like, okay, we could be a contender for the American, and it just didn't play out that way. My grade, I would give it a C, a solid C, and solely because we were able to beat Tulane the way that we did. Tulane obviously was able to go on and make the college football playoff, but road losses to Temple, losing at home to Texas State, it's unacceptable. And a large portion of our fan base checked out after we lost to Texas State at the
100%.
Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was the last time I saw you in the Alamo Dome. So
Yeah.
it was bad. It was bad all around. Losing to Texas State, losing to Army, losing to North Texas. Those are games that if you want your fan base to be checked in, you have to win those rivalry games. Those are the games people care about when you're already playing on a schedule where you're not playing against a lot of teams that people know. So you
Yeah.
got to win those local rivalries to keep the people locked in. It was just an all around disappointing season. Robert Henry eventually cooled off after his hot start,
Yeah,
our
he
lone
did.
bright spot. And then Will Henderson picked up the slack. What was interesting and what I was looking at was that when I was doing my piece on Justin Burke, uh, how a lot of the guys like Amador, McEwen,
Yeah.
Henry, obviously, they all had statistically their best seasons at UTSA, but
Yeah.
the numbers felt empty. It
Yeah.
was they weren't playing meaningful football, and you can throw out all the stats that you want, but UTSA fans want to see UTSA playing in meaningful games, and that
Absolutely.
and in every meaningful game outside the Tulane game, they came up short and they came up flat.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and I'm appreciative that you brought that up. I think before we let you go here, on the first. We're gonna do a second half, guys, but I only asked Rylan to show up for the first half of the show. I wanted to get your take on what are we going to demand for 2026. I think I, I want to take a step back first. So, in my opinion, I think there's a lot to do with the AD and what we can actually bring from a money standpoint. And I see you smirk on that. So before I even get to my question, what are your thoughts on the athletic director and UTSA situation around that?
Oh man, I've had a bunch of interactions with Lisa. She's a great person. Um,
Okay.
but obviously, I'm not I know all the conversations surrounding like her and what we do with our finances
Mm.
and who we all employ and what's going on with all the staff stuff. My only take right now, it's a pretty mild take. We could definitely do worse. I know there's a lot of spots people want to shore up, and then every time something goes wrong,
Right.
they look at Lisa Campos and they get mad at her. But as far as I know, she's kept Trailer, Hallmark, Pittman, all those guys in the building. She's handled that to the best of her ability. Like, I'm not as tapped in as you behind the scenes. So I know you said on one of your live streams that you've heard a lot of stories. I'm not tapped in on that. So from me and what I know on the surface level, we could definitely do worse. But it makes me laugh every time you bring it up, because I know I was in that one of those live streams where y'all were talking about it, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I think she does a good job at hiring who she hires. You can't take that away from her. Being close, like I think the hard thing about some of this and being in my position is being close to what's actually happening behind the scenes and then having a public forum for which I talk about it and I can't say what's actually going on. So people don't really understand why I'm frustrated and why I'm irritated and why some of the people who are, I mean, I'll just use Pat Kleins, right? Like I have a really good relationship with him, so I don't think he'd be bothered by me saying this, but he's one of the most vocal persons that is given a substantial amount of money to the program, and he's very vocal against the ship she's running.
Mhm.
And I don't agree with every single feeling he has, but based on what I know, he's not wrong.
Right.
He very much has a case as to like why he's frustrated. But I get it. Her hands are tied also. Like she has a hard job. That's the reality of it, right? She has a hard job and there's different components to it that matter more at certain times, right? So like at certain times you have to get your coaching hires right. But this other time you have to fundraise. So the goalpost naturally moves. And it's a shitty place to be in because your job is being sort of evaluated publicly, but that's just where we are. And just going back to the article I wrote today on my Substack, I think athletic directors now, and I want to get your take on this before I let you go. I know I've kept you a little longer than what I said I would,
I got
and I
no plans
apologize
tonight.
for
I'm yours, bro.
that.
Pause.
but yeah, please pause.
Pause.
but, but, but no, my question to you though is um considering where we are as a program and what we need going forward, what is the future to you? What because I have an idea of where I think UTSA is going, but I don't think we're doing the things we need to do to get there. Like, for example, she came out and said, hey, we have a goal of 4 to 5 million. That's a goal. And I know what infrastructure was put in place for her to say that. I don't think it's very strong, but I know why she said that essentially. But she was way off when she said that's going to put us at the top, near the top three of the American Conference. I think people who aren't even plugged in knew that wasn't true. What's sort of your take on that? Because everyone points to the coaching hires, but there's a huge there's another side to this that's really important that she seems to not be doing well at in terms of raising the money.
Right. Well, I mean, if I'm sure you know, San Antonio is a hard city to get to
Yes.
buy into
Yes.
athletics.
Yes.
So you're already sitting at a disadvantage. Everybody talks about how San Antonio is a big city and how we should have more fundraising. Where's HEB? Where's all these other
Yep.
corporations? It is hard to buy into an athletics team, and then you go and say it's a college athletics team, and even less, your main moneymaker football has only been around for 12 to 13 years.
Right.
So it's
Right.
not like you're a storied team. Our success has really been, it started in 2020 and then it ended in 2023. Really, but that was the only year we've been really competitive in the American. So there's a lot of people that expecting for that 4 year stretch to get major corporations to buy in, people with a lot of money in San Antonio to buy into this team. So it's I give her a little break there. It's already a hard city to raise money in for athletics,
Right.
and the team hasn't been doing that great. Like you get two back to back 6 and 6 years, it doesn't help your case.
Doesn't.
Um, so I don't know. I wish I could say that I have a clear plan as to where we can or where she can take us in leveling up our fundraising. There definitely needs to be more done, right? We're not doing enough reaching out. I know that for a fact, right? When
Yes.
we're as broke as we are, you got to get on hands and knees with anybody that's willing to listen. There's no dignity, so you got to go out to anybody that's willing to listen, that's willing to help bring some money into the program. It's just tough. It's just tough right now.
Yeah, I've come on here multiple times and said how I have 5K set aside for to do sort of a thing to try to raise 10. I haven't got one call, text, email, or anything. And what the only thing I got from that was, hey, they don't care about that amount of money. That money is small. And I'm like, what kind of message does that send to everybody who's trying to help the program? I've
That's
said that,
crazy.
yeah, I've said that multiple times. And I think of that money I set aside, I've given 1K of that to Pat's sort of situation, but I'm ticked off because I reached out to UTSA through multiple channels and I got no responses to that. And I don't know, maybe it's a me thing, right? It could be they just don't want to work with me, which is fine. But well, no, it's not fine actually. It sucks because that kind of money can help one player, right? I don't know what it could do for him, but it could help somebody. And I have not got a call, text, and I know they watch my show. I know they have people watching my show every single time, and there's a lot of other stories like that. It's not just me. I'm not just trying to I'm not trying to single myself out as somebody who's trying to give or who's trying to flex something. I have nothing to flex. I just want for my program, for my alma mater, and I have that story. There are people who have committed more money to some of it and found more budget than I've been able to find to be able to do something like that. And they have not responded to their messages either. So it's one of those things where it's like, guys, I'm here. My line is open. And if you guys reach out to me, let's work. But
I think what they're doing,
it's crazy.
They're hoping for that big fish. You're not going to get that right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to take what you can get. If I need $10 for a meal, I'm not going to say no to 5. You know what I mean? You got to get it where you can when you don't have it like that. Yeah. And for UTSA, you're not going to have it like that right now until you're able to string together some history. You're able to show something that's going to really convince these big fish donors that you're hoping to get. You need to rely on your community, the people, the alumni, the people that are around the program that are willing to give, even if it's a little bit. You got to rely on that. And to hear that they're not reaching out, they're not responding, it's heartbreaking, man, because this program needs every single dollar they can get. And for them to act like they're too big for donations like that is really disheartening.
Yeah, I've essentially given up at this point.
That's 5K we're losing out on right there. Just because you won't respond.
It sucks. It sucks. It is what it is. Anyway, thanks so much, Rylan, for showing up to the show, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to do the rest of the show here, and I'm going to go through your questions. Rylan, where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? And if you got anything to promote, let's get it out now. Let's hear it.
I'm at Rylan Photog on Twitter. I got really nothing to promote. I love engaging in conversation with y'all. So give me a follow, and I'm down to respond to every single one of y'all if y'all got questions for me. I appreciate y'all.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks so much. I hope that we can work together in the future soon.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, have a great rest of your night. And yeah, I'm going to get to the rest of these questions. Appreciate you, Rylan.
All right, yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, guys, I'm going to get into the questions now. Shout out to Rylan for joining the show. Let's see where we at now. I'm going to start from we got a lot of comments. Jesus Christ. Okay. I appreciate you guys for the comments. Retro Neon says, I'ma say it. G5 schools don't belong in the CFP. Yeah, James Madison and Tulane got their asses handed to them. Yeah, they did. And I don't care to like die on the hill that they don't belong or they not belong, right? But for me, my position is I want G5 schools to have something that's their own. I'm not going to say a G5 school one day can't ever like make a real run at a natty. That will probably happen down the line at some point. However, I think right now there's a lot of G5 schools that like nobody cares about the bowl games. Like, I'm happy that UTSA made it to a bowl, but I don't care about the game on Friday. I'm going to be real with you. Half our players are not. I mean, we're missing, 16 players, Coach Traylor said. You got more that are going to leave after the game. Like, I'm not that enthused. We'll see. Shout out to Will Henderson Sr. here, or the first, or whichever you call it. Yeah, we need the NIT football playoffs for the G5. I mean, I don't even like calling it NIT, like it is what it is. I just think G5 needs something that they can strive for because the postseason right now is a joke. More strays coming. Let's see. Bowls will be gone in the next 5 years. There's money involved. I doubt it. No one will watch the G5 playoff, Darian. That's why they stopped airing one AA quarter semis because the final barely gets any viewers. Okay. I don't like here. So what's the alternative? Why so serious? Like, you got people who barely watched James Madison and Tulane get pummeled. What's the like? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, people barely watched that too. So what? People weren't satisfied by that. You build some real incentive to find you if the NCAA can be a real incentive financially for a G5 playoff to where they can recoup the same money that they would get if they were in a CFB playoff. Maybe not the same holistically, but money like that, like you could make something happen. But just saying, oh, well, people like we're not talking 1AA here. This isn't 1AA. 1AA schools are also smaller, less size. That's a different ball game than what this situation is with G5. You'd have more eyes there, but it'll also have to change the way it's marketed, change the way it's viewed, and there'd have to be a different way of them communicating what that means to the nation and the audience of college football fans. So there'll be a lot changed. Yes, it doesn't seem like it'll be prominent right now, but that's based on a structure that we already have, right? A different structure will warrant different things and will warrant different meaning. And I think right now G5 schools are not getting painted in a really good light in this particular situation, other than them making $6-7 million just making it to this college football playoff. If you put that type of situation and you put that type of reward or something even above that to a G5 playoff, I think people would watch. I genuinely believe that. The first thing that has to change is the calendar, like Traylor said a month ago. Possibly, yeah. No, not even possibly. It does. we have an MLB situation. I think let's see. We'll all have the same league, but spending different amounts. No one is saying that Pittsburgh Pirates should drop to the triple minors. The last thing we need to further separate ourselves from power teams. I don't agree. I don't agree because we're not playing for anything. Like you play for a conference championship, I guess, but there's no real postseason. Like what like y'all explain to me what's exciting about a G5 postseason right now besides going to a shit bowl game. Please explain. Please explain this to me. Outside of going to a shit bowl game, what's good about a G5 postseason? So you telling me that, and this is what I want. I want the differences in opinion here, but you're telling me that having a G5 team going to the college football playoff, getting embarrassed, and being talked about on every single big publication media company about how they don't belong is better than an alternative. It's embarrassing what's happening now. But this is what you want. I don't understand it. That's the piece I don't understand. It's like G5 teams are getting embarrassed on national television because they're not competitive to P4 teams. I like them to be painted in glory, and I like them to be compensated for it. There's no like this idea, like people are just putting subjective things out there, and I get it. Part of what I'm saying is subjective as well. However, give me a proper incentive structure for a G5 team in the postseason, other than them getting their asses handed to them by a P4 school that they shouldn't be on the field with. I'm just keeping it a buck. Just got to be real about it, right? G5 playoffs isn't the answer. The answer is the FCS style 2014 playoff. Make the conference champion matter, and P5 can stop crying about their team not making it. I mean, that's cool, but they're not. I mean, yes, listen, that's fine if they do something like that. We're never gonna have it like you'll have, by virtue of something like that, you probably will have more G5 teams in it who are still gonna get their asses blown out. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Like, I don't think we should sugarcoat what happens when a UTSA plays a UT or a James Madison plays in Oregon or a Tulane plays in Ole Miss. I don't think we should sugarcoat that in relation to these conversations here. Seems like G5 is getting weaker and weaker each year. I don't know if it's getting weaker. Actually, I don't think it's. I mean, I think the American Conference is really good. I just think we are in different leagues because college football groups everybody together. People have this false sense that the FCC and the Big Ten are somewhat similar or comparable to a school that comes out of the American or this Pac-12 that's finna form, or the Sun Belt, or the MAC, or the Mountain West. No, it's not the same game, y'all. Period. Watch the football. Watch the football. Don't get your emotions out of it. This is why there's some people who are a lot more adamant about it. I'm more adamant about this because there's an X's and O's factor and a capability factor that cannot be ignored. And that to me is the situation that I'm speaking to. SEC ball, it's a different level from the ball that we watch week in and week out watching UTSA. It's just a fact, guys. I'm not trying to. I played for UTSA in the WAC in the Conference USA. It ain't SEC. It ain't even Big 12. And Big 12 is weak. And now that there is a financial component, which shout out to the portal in the back. That's my Substack newsletter. I would appreciate everyone for going in, putting your email in so you can get some of my content. However, As I get closer and closer to the numbers, guys, it's not the same. From a revenue standpoint, the SEC schools and the Big Ten schools are getting paid $70 to $75 million per school just for being a part of the conference, where UTSA and the American folks are struggling to get $7 or $8 million. We aren't talking about the same leagues. So you can put all your stuff here. We are not talking about the same thing. We're not. I know people like to dream and wish. We're not. We're not talking about the same league. We're not. Let's see, the more you spend the playoff, the more you minimize regular season games. Less people will attend G5 home games. Less people will attend middle of the pack P4 games. Schools already, like, this is already happening. Like, why so serious? This is already happening. UTSA lost to Texas State. Rylan mentioned it earlier. People deprioritize going to UTSA games from that game alone. That already happens. You got a team like, Arkansas, Kentucky, who starts to lose games in the SEC quickly. Guess what? People stop going. That already happens. It wouldn't be a new thing just because you expand the playoffs. People will stop telling stuff off. They already do that. They'll show up to see their team win a college playoff game. If UNT fans showed up this season, the rest of the teams will too. Yeah, let's see. I'm not going to do any replies. When the top 10 team is locked in and know the Natty is on the line, the G5 team doesn't have the horses to compete. That's exactly my point. Respectfully. I'm going to try to comb through some of these, like the relevant ones, because I only have about 13 minutes left. I like what UTSA is doing. What about you? Okay. In 2022, when we played Texas close for 3.5 quarters, UT flipped the switch in the second half, and we stole a possession with the onside kick. After halftime, the depth took over. Yeah, but that's just finding an excuse as to why we lost. They're better than us. They're playing different football than we are. That's what you find. That's the reality of it. They have better players, better recruits, better coaches, better resources, better. They are more suitable. They're more suited to come out successful on a Saturday than we are. There's just no getting around that. It's just a fact. Like, actually, let me go. Yeah, but are these players going to start? If they just transfer to more money and to do less work, aka ride the bench, then I wouldn't transfer if I love the game of football. Well, Max, I just want to respond to this here. The game, like, okay. And I'm going to go in on this, or not go in on Max here, but I just want everybody to be very clear about what the reality is about college football. Guys, the players are selfish. Can you please? I just want everybody to understand this. The players are selfish generally. They are going to prioritize what benefits them, especially in this age of NIL and revenue share. And that's okay. They should be. Especially when money's involved. Especially if that money can be life-changing. They should be selfish. They should take a second after the season and assess their options and see what's the best decision for their lifestyle going forward. Absolutely. But, like, understand they're being recruited. So your question here of, like, oh yeah, but these players going to start? They are being told they are going to start, Max. I can guarantee you that. They barely recruit big players that come in and say you don't have a chance to play immediately. Because guess what most players want to do? They want to come in and play immediately. They'll say, well, you got to beat this guy out, but you got a chance. That's how it goes. But trust me, if playing time is an issue, unless it's like quarterback in a sense, it's like a top shift All American guy, they're gonna come in and tell that person, "Hey, you can start next season." Don't mean anything because they may not. They may not start. And they may sit on a bench and just collect checks. Those checks are life changing to some people. And if you ask some of those guys, will you make a different decision? I can tell you right now, half of them won't. I can tell you right now, there are people who are in the portal right now for UTSA that I've talked to who are happy to leave because they're finna make crazy money. And it's some of it's even guys that we wanted to see walk out. I know that for a fact. There are guys on UTSA that we wanted to see leave who have announced that they're in the portal. They are going to go to bigger and better things based on the offers they have right now. Because UTSA can't pay the dime that some of these other schools that you'll be surprised about can pay. So the idea that are these players going to start and like do they care about riding the bench? If you love the love of the if I love the game of football, that don't matter in real life. That don't matter in real life. Do not fall for the ESPN sort of storytelling that they do, that people do things for the love of the game. No. People do things based on ROI, return of investment. That's what the whole game is surrounded by or is motivated by. If a player chooses to go into a school, they're investing in that school. They're investing that school is going to pay them money. When players in the NFL choose to go other places, they invest into a team, into putting things around them for them to succeed. And guess what? They invest so they can get a fruitful paycheck at the end of the day. So my only thing here is don't fall for the stuff they put out on TV. I'll give you the real, bro. Houston Thomas ain't it. I think he's a good player. I hate that he's leaving. That it appears that he's leaving, but he's a good player. I don't think UTSA's I think he probably should go. I think he's someone, I think he has NFL potential, but being utilized the way he's being utilized, I don't blame him, if I'm honest. $200K to contribute and play for a natty is worth it. Absolutely. Cam Alexander didn't even start after at this point Greek Hills. Yeah, I mean it does at some point, right? Like he definitely left money on the table because he probably would have been an NFL player coming from UTSA. So you're gonna definitely have situations like that, but at the end of the day, bro, like at the end of the day, you are being recruited on something, and sometimes people lie. That's why Coach Traylor gets pissed all the time when he talks about it. He talks about people lying. What did he say the other day? I hope the promises that they've made to his players are getting kept, because it ain't always true. Put yourself in their shoes. One, I'm likely not going pro at UTSA anyways. I'm setting myself up financially at football. I can play for a natty. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I actually think you can go pro from UTSA, as we've seen plenty of draft picks at this point. Or guys who have been successful on the next level. But yeah, you got to stand out tough. I don't know. I think anything less than a win in a bowl game would be unacceptable. Coach needs to salvage this season with a bowl win, and excuses on who is or is not playing is not going to fly. Listen, first off, Mike, I really, really appreciate this comment because this centers us for the actual game. And I definitely think we should win the game, but I'm over UTSA. I'll be real. I'm upset at the way the season went. I am upset at the way our offense went. I'm upset at the way the defense played. I am upset at Coach Traylor's comments for vast majority of the season. I'm upset at the way some of our marketing folks have handled things. There's some people who are really, really nice and they do good things and they're trying to do good things, but um, at least I just wish I knew more than what I do know about their situation. And I would love to change some of the narrative of what's going on, but I am not exposed to enough. I'm going to do my damnness to try to be exposed to more than I am now. Going into this next season, I'm gonna be a lot more direct with the folks that I do have relationships with at the program. Who knows, that could mean that they stiff arm me more. They already won't take my money. So who knows what that means, but I don't know. They got to do something different. That's what I do know. What color scheme are we wearing for the bowl? I actually have no idea. McEwen and Houston Gunners. Houston's probably a goner. McEwen is probably a goner as well, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, all I've heard on McEwen has been rumors. Not going pro at UTSA. Yeah, let's completely forget about the CB that got drafted from UTSA, even with our midseason. Yeah, we had multiple CBs got drafted from UTSA. So yeah, think about it. Only 3 players in the trailer area have ever been drafted. Is it only 3? Who is it? Zay Frazier. What is it? Zay Frazier, Tariq Woolen. Was Spencer Buford not drafted? Is he the third one? I don't know about that. I don't have that information at the top of my situation. I don't have that information like right at me right now. The conference is wide open next year. I think our success will determine. I don't think it is. Like, so, I'm so glad you asked it too. Shout out to Mike. Mike gets comment of the day. And I'm gonna start Mike's last two because Mike has been killing it on the questions here. Yeah. So, Mike, I'm glad you said this. I don't think the conference is as open as folks may think. It's like the teams who lost players, they all have really good infrastructure that's going to, like, do you think USF is going to really, really hurt? They got Brian Hartline coming in and they're maxing out revenue. They're not going to be worse. They're going to at least be the same this upcoming season. Memphis, they got a $5 million per year head start on everybody in the conference, right? Due to their FedEx deal, along with some of the other stuff they got going on, which is, like I said, it's $5 million plus at this point. Do you think they're really going to be hurt with all the guys? They're losing a lot of guys. They'll be fine. Like, it's not as like people are just looking at losses and thinking that these teams are going to re-up in a couple of weeks when the portal opens. We'll see. Listen, there's opportunity for UTSA, but I think we'll see after. I'll have more to say after there are more of the offensive guys hit the portal that I'm anticipating. But we'll see. We'll see. This is what I'm saying. I wish I could talk to some of the coaches because I feel like I know who's going to leave, but I'm sure they're like working with people and trying to keep those guys. It's just interesting. Okay, you're talking to Max here, but look at all the other guys that have left bigger schools and arguably worsened their career. Yeah, it don't matter if they did; they made bread. Let me go into some of the ones later. Let's see. Max says, "Man, I hope Owen proves you wrong, Darian, for all our sakes." Me too. I agree with this 100%. I hope he proves me wrong as well. Wassel Sears says, Sincere is literally average size for all purpose backs. He did well for the Raiders at the end of the last year. He can clearly play in the NFL, but he didn't get drafted because the NFL doesn't respect G5 film. That's fair, actually. I think Sincere did enough to where he should have been a drafted player, but the running back situation in the NFL is also a bit more unique than everybody else. All the other positions. If you don't get drafted, you're more likely to get cut because they didn't invest money. Yep, that's true. See if we can get some more. Darian, Lisa doesn't have her hands tied. She ties the hands. You're probably not wrong. All right. It's Rab says, I'm so happy. He says, G5 playoffs equals losing support for UTSA. I think at this point, a lot of y'all want that so you can support UT instead. Who wants to watch UTSA versus FIU is right. So I make that a permit. um, yeah, I mean, I get your point. So what's the alternative? Just watch just G5 get embarrassed every year? Like you're good with that? It's rap like cuz that's what happened this year. That's what always happens. So like what's the alternative? That's my question. Cuz like UTSA and FIU wouldn't be the championship game. It wouldn't be the semis. It wouldn't even be the quarters. It might be round 1 or something. Right? But if you can get like I mean, I don't know where Boise and teams are like that are gonna fall around, but like if you had like a Boise and a freaking I mean this year's Tulane or something, that could have been a good game. I mean this year's Boise wasn't great either, to be fair, but you get my point. Like two top. If you had a James Madison and Tulane for the championship, that would have been nice. That'd have been fun to watch. Instead of them going to get pummeled by some of these bigger teams. Another big thing that could have been nice if we had a local media outlets really favor and rally behind UTSA. Maybe it's just me, but a lot of our media does not focus on home team and support for us. Yeah, because those local media outlets, they have quotas to hit. They have numbers that they're trying to gear toward, and they have to cover the team that's going to give them those eyes because that's how they sell ads. That's how they make money. So you just have to understand some of the trade-offs that these local media outlets have to make in terms of what they cover and how they cover things. It's one of the reasons why they cover more. I mean, you just learn this in media in general, but it's one of the reasons why like more dramatic negative things are there because it elicits emotion out of an audience more than anything else. So you have to just take that in consideration. But I'd say, I mean, look, Greg Luca and JJ Perez should be your UTSA guys. They just should be. Um, they are very they're down the middle. They don't favor UTSA too much. They don't go against UTSA much either, to be fair. They favor you. They want their content wants to favor UTSA, but they are objective. Um, I'm probably the negative guy. I think I get tagged with that. I don't think I'm negative, but I have a standard and I'm not gonna like move it. Uh I feel like I'm pretty objective because I'm like super stoked when UTSA wins. I just still think back to those years we were winning conference championships and the fun I was having on here was insane. And I'm just not able to have that same amount of fun whenever we don't do well. So yeah, I think anchor to Greg Luca, anchor to JJ Perez. They're really, really good at what they do. They're going to get you guys right. And those other guys, the Don Harrises, which I do have some respect for him because he's doing some really good things for UTSA behind the scenes that people won't recognize because of how he is on Twitter. But yeah, I would just stick to those guys, man. You'll be good. A lot of the outlets bash us or favor larger programs for some reason. Heck, you even have San Antonio reporters talking about Texas State more than Texas than the UTSA. Yeah, that's crazy. The Texas State one I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they have quotas they have to meet, and I don't know. I have tried to work with some of them too. They're not interested in people who cover UTSA. Um, Even if I feel like I'm really objective and I'm almost probably harder on UTSA than most would be, than most probably prefer. I've tried to work with a lot of these people. They're not interested. But it's because they have to think about what is revenue generating. And right now, you don't make it. No one makes much money covering UTSA. I'll be the first to tell you. You're not going to make much money. You're going to cover UTSA for the love of it. You're not going to cover UTSA for money. And these media outlets, they have to make money and generate money. So UTSA is going to get put on the back burner from that alone. Student body. Let's see. I am over time here. Sorry, guys. Then I'm a little over time. Let me try to get a few more. Let's see. A G5 and P4 bowl are the cream of the crop bowls. UTSA trash bowl is what you are advocating for. Having solely G5 versus G5, not going to work and not going to fix things, because that's not the correct diagnosis. So tell me what the correct diagnosis is. It's Rab. You tell me. If you give me something that works, cool. Like, that's the thing that I'm telling people. Like, my whole point on the G5 having their own sort of separate playoff and postseason, that's me throwing something at the wall and saying this may work. All people are doing is telling me how wrong it is, but not telling me what will make it better. What's better? Because this isn't. So tell me what's better. You can pop all your shit on this thing, but tell me what's better. What's better? What alternative do you have to make it to where G5 teams aren't an embarrassment? I'm open, but I haven't seen anything yet. I'm open. If you had to bet right now, is McEwen gone? Yes. Yeah. Based on what I've heard, yeah, it's like I said, I can't report some of the transfer portal stuff officially because I am not talking with McEwen and his camp directly. I'm just telling you what I've heard around him and the interest around him and what the expectation is. And like as I tweeted, there's an expectation for him to enter the portal, and there's some expectation to where he's going to go. That I'm certainly not going to disclose because it's one scout's word against another. But yeah, I mean, I'd expect him to be on. KK Kid not getting any calls. I heard other DB Martin is getting tons of P4 calls. I heard. I know. Well, I mean, I don't know if the KK Meyer is not getting calls. I know I got some questions about him from a couple teams, which they weren't big schools. It was a 1AA school, and there was two G5 schools that asked me about KK Meyer. So I'm not sure what his situation is. From what I've heard directly, I mean, I think I can say this. I've talked to Davin Martin directly, and yeah, I can confirm he's, at least from what he's saying, he has several offers or several opportunities in the Big Ten and the SEC. So good luck to him. FIU has their entire secondary in the portal. It will be fine. Yeah. UTSA got out coached by Texas State. Temple manhandled by South Florida. That's true. David Morgan was the first draftee. He definitely was. It was my teammate. That's my guy. Shout out to Demo. Hi, sir. Do you have any tips on starting streaming and podcasts? Could you reach out to me on Twitter, my X account? I would love to talk more about this. but I don't think anybody else here would want to hear me go in on this. But I would love to help in any way I can. So reach out to me directly on my X account, and I will give you all the tips and stuff you need. And I appreciate you for coming to me. I can't say I've done it perfectly at all, but yes, I will try to lend a helping hand. Conference winner next year is who's in the portal. Conference winner next year is who's in the portal. I'm not sure what you're meaning here. Let's win the bowl game already. Birds up. Go Runners. Hassan, there are people who think you are a bot. So, like, let me know. You need to let everybody know you're not one. Let's see. Wassel Series says we need a Euro Soccer League type format. Top. I agree with this actually. I was actually saying this to somebody, and they were like telling me I was crap. Like, to some former UTSA players, by the way, they were telling me that idea was crap. They were telling me it was crap. I was like, what? Stop, skip my fire. What did I miss? It's Rab. Let's see. Okay, I talked about this one. No one's gonna care about. Yeah, I've hit all your takes, and I have responses for you specifically. Tell me what works. That's the message for you, It's Rap. Tell me what works. You can crap on all the other ideas, but until you present an idea that works, there we go. I just want to know. Tell me what works. What works? Because the stuff that's happening right now don't work to me. G5's getting embarrassed don't work. It being a joke, it being a laughing stock of the CFP don't work. It being a waste of time don't work. So if you have something else, I'm not trying to miss your takes, but you're complaining about or you're like shooting down something, fine, no problem, no harm, no foul. Cool, completely cool with that. Well, what works? That's my thing. What works? Hassan says, I'm real. I'm not a fake. Too many fake rollers. Shout out to Hassan. Hassan said, y'all got me messed up, bro. Comment of the day, Darian. Screw Mike Munez. Are you talking about It's Rab comment of stop skipping my fires? No, Mike did good. I gotta give Mike you're talking about the Euro. No, you know what? That's a close one. That's a really, really good one on the comment of the day. You're right, honestly. Because I really, really agree with this. I was trying to explain to them, like, getting 3 points per win, like, I like that idea. Like, it's an objective way to measure something. It's not perfect, but like, I think it can happen. I think it could be good. Like, I'm a huge Man U fan. It's not great to be me, but yes, I don't miss a Premier League weekend. My mornings start with the Premier League on the weekend every single time. I don't miss games. And I love the way they do things, and it creates excitement, and it's exciting. And I like the relegation battles. I like the top 4, top 5 battles to see who can get in Europe. I love all of that, and it'd be great. It's Rab says, I have you the alternative because I knew you were going to ask for one. Come on, bro. What's the alternative? Hold on. You didn't read my text. I said you're forcing an alternative. There is no alternative. It's death. Okay. I might have missed your message. I might have missed one of them. Because I did skip some, but I feel like I got all of yours because people were telling me to get yours. I'm skimming through. I can't go back through them in so much detail. Because I got to get people out of here. I don't see the one where it says, let me see. Oh, I see what you said. Or you want force an alternative? There is none. It will die. I see. This is the one. No one gonna care about a G5 playoff. Good luck raising money and good luck getting the TV network to care. You want to force an alternative? There is none. It will die if G5 breaks off. Simple as that. I don't think it'll die. I think that's too far. It's too much money involved for it to die. Number one. There not being an alternative is just close. It's surprising that you say that because that's very close-minded of you. It's Rab. You are not someone that I would expect to have such a close-minded take like this. I'm shocked. What's going on, bro? I get your point, but the idea that there's no help or not even no help, but there's no alternative is crazy. So, like I said, you're just okay, cool. There's no alternative. G5 just gets embarrassed every year. Cool. There's no way to like make something better. Yeah, nah, bro. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. Anyway, I read your take. Shout out to It's Rap. Shout out to Why So Serious. You and It's Rap, y'all are. We got a new fight right now. Why So Serious is like hitting It's Rap's levels now, and he's become a fixture in the show as well. So shout out to Why So Serious. He says, "Drink a nightcap, bro. We wore you out today. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I really appreciate everybody. I went a little longer than I was gonna go. That I typically go. I know it's not an easy time to do one of these at a time like this because there's not going to be a ton of people to show, but we're gonna keep it rocking regardless. I am going to do a post game show. I don't expect a ton of people to be there on Friday. I'm going to have family in town, so I'm going to have to try to keep people out of the room while I'm doing this. But yeah, I'm going to have that for you. And if I don't talk to you guys before then, have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time with your family. Have a Happy New Year's as well. And peace out. And I'll see you guys in 2026. Well, no, I'll see you guys for the post game show. And if you don't show up to the post game show 2026, I'll see you guys.